So looks like you're using a dual rectifier.
Yep.
A Marshall.
Yep.
And a Tyler, right?
Yes.
Let's talk about your rectifier. What kind of stuff are you using on? Is it clean channel? Is it?
Okay. The rectifier is these two amps are my main Toby amps. I primarily use those with Toby, and actually I think only with Toby actually. But the Mesa is my modern high gain sound. That's just what I use. I use it on the red channel. I use it on the silicone diode setting, and the what is it? Bold setting on the back. I have Tungsol super clear pickups in it, yeah, it's all my modern high gain stuff you hear. It's just that amp. I use very little pedals on top of it. Occasionally I'll hit the Paisley to give it that mid-range boost, and man, dude, that is one of my favorite solo tones right now as far as like ripping tone, you know. Yeah, and that's it, just straightforward. Cabs are down there, but they has vintage 30s, I believe, in it, and just screaming. And this, you know what about this? If we're talking about amps, I mean, it's important to know that this dual rectifier is a 91 with a 700 serial number. It's a very old. You know, they don't make them like that anymore. So and I brag on that because everybody that plays it or hears it is like, what's going on with that amp? You know, and it has a lot of dynamics. You know, there's not the buzz and the high gain. It's the mini logo, so if you're looking for one, people say, what is it, pre-94? I think pre-94 is like the dual rec to get.
Right. And that's what. So
anyway, there's that. Marshall, this is I think it's a reissue, but it's an early 90s before they put the effects loop in it. Got a great deal on it. I got an awesome amp guy in Nashville named Steve Sinclair that I took it to him and I said, make it better, and he gave me a baggie full of circuitry that didn't need to be in there. And he said, here, this helps.
Extra parts.
And then we did Mullard EL34s, and it's just an awesome Marshall, just a great Marshall. It's a 100-watt head, but I bias it to 50, and I run it. I run all my. Well, this one's obviously very gainy, but I run all my amps fairly dirty. I like to be able to have some control and get the tube compression in it.
Right.
And yeah, that's that guy.
Cool. And this is your Tyler?
This is my Tyler. Let me spin this around if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's talk about him real quick, because he's actually a really great guy doing some really cool stuff right now.
You know, it's funny. I just hung out with him in New York, and he was bragging on your ego compressor. That's the first thing he said when he saw my board. And hopefully you guys will be able to connect sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've traded emails back and forth a little bit, so.
Yeah. Oh, really? Good. Okay. Well, yeah, let's make that happen. But what this is actually, I just found out, a one of a kind, the JT46. It's his version of a JTM 45 Marshall. But they're so versatile with the tube configuration. This has a KT66 in it. A lot of headroom, the big bottle tubes. You can do EL34s, which actually Byron, our other guitarist, is playing a JT46 with EL34s in it through a 212 cabinet. And man, you would think that it's Hendrix rocking, man. It's just that huge, or AC/DC. It's just that classic Marshall sound.
Oh man.
You can put 6L6s in it and get that tweed glass sound. I mean, it's amazing how versatile they are. But this is a 1x12. First of all, it's beautiful. I stinking love this amp. But it's a 1x12, and the reason it's a one-of-a-kind hybrid amp is just because it has a closed back as a combo.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. Yeah.
Wow.
If you don't know about Tyler amps, man, check them out. I was just at 30th Street Guitars in New York, and that's where he does a lot of business out of. And man, they're incredible, and they're very reasonably priced. I mean, if you're looking at boutique amps, you know, people spend so much money, you know, like ridiculous, like Dumbles and Two Rocks and stuff like that, you know. And but I think they're called Two Rocks. Does that sound right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So expensive. And his are way less. They're hand wired, and they're just awesome. So, little plug for Tyler, if you don't mind.
All right, so it looks like you got a couple different cabinets here. You got a Marshall and a Mesa. Can you run us through the Marshall first here? What speakers and what mic you're using?
Yeah. This is the taller, I think thinner version. I think it's called the Jimi Hendrix Cab. It's got greenbacks in it. I wanted a Marshall Cab with greenbacks, and I have another Marshall Cab with greenbacks in it that was getting old enough that I wanted to take it home to have in my studio because it sounded so good. So I told Toby that he needed to get his own. So this is the one we picked out for him, and it's great, man. It's amazing when you get a new-ish cabinet how much you've got to beat it up to get it to sound great. The speakers, you know, the speakers were so tight and bright when I first got it. That the difference when I played it for 2-3 years on the road at the volumes that I play at, which is screaming, it's amazing how it warms up and it starts responding more the way I want it. Speaker placement, obviously, you know, probably most of our audience is going to know this, but it's so important. The mic placement on the speaker, honestly, to me and our engineer Ryan Lampa, he and I will, when we get a new cab, or even sometimes at the beginning of a new tour, we will sit with our ears in, completely sealed, rocking out, and he'll take a 57 and move it right around to find the one where it feels like that speaker is right in your brain. And it just makes all the difference. And sometimes it's too bright. Most of the time, that's right where you want it, because that's the truest sound to what's coming out of your amp.
Right.
You know, you move a speaker, move a mic over here, it's going to sound distant and dark, but some people like to mic right on the outside. It kind of depends on the speaker, it depends on the cab. But these are the markings that we found to be right. We use 257s on each cab. And the 57 is just the way to go, man. You could drop it off the Empire State Building, it's still going to work. I feel personally, because I do a lot in the studio as well, a lot of times large diaphragms are cool in a very controlled environment. Live isn't always like that. Live is kind of thrown to the wolves at times, you know, and it's in a 57, it's just going to be right there, very dynamic, very pointed, and I think what he does out front is, I think he may pan them out just a little bit and put just a slight millisecond delay on them, and just gives you that nice big fat sound.
It looks like you're right up against a grill cloth too.
Oh yeah, we're right in it. I mean, I got holes in these grill claws. Look at that. This is my Mesa Cab, vintage 30s, slant cab. It's probably 9-10 years old, you know, just gotten real beat up, and it's nice and big and warm, and I love it. You know, it's amazing the difference in cabs. It's amazing the difference in tonality of woods. I've been experimenting more with that. If I plug my Marshall through that, it almost sounds like a different amp.
Yeah.
You know, and you just have to mix and match. Some people love the Mesa Marshall combo. I don't know. I probably would if I tried it, but you just kind of, you've known me long enough to know that I don't change a whole lot. And when it comes to my rig, when it comes to guitars, if I get something where I want it and where it's working, it sticks that way, you know. And like pedals, you know, you can swap out more easily because in overdrive, you're just going to be able to beat that overdrive. But with an amp, you're changing everything, you know. So yeah, the same mic configuration, 257s. Our goal, like I said, Ryan and I, we work as a team. I mean, he is just as much a part of my tone as I am or you are. I mean, it takes a lot of people to come up with great tone, in my opinion, especially in an arena environment.
Oh yeah.
In an arena environment, it's very important. And hopefully I don't get to the point where I'm so arrogant that I think I can do it all on my own, because I have zero control after what goes through that 57 as to what thousands of people are hearing out front.
Right.
So right off the bat, Ryan and I started really getting together, like I said, moving the mic around, and then our end goal is very, very minute EQing out front. And most of the time, he'll give me this signal, which is flat, you know. And any EQing that he needs to do is strictly because of the room.
Gotcha.
So that's an important thing to me. I like flat EQs. I like being able to produce the sound that the people hear. It's a sense of pride for me, you know.
Right. Well, cool.
So yeah.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate
you're welcome.
taking time and walking through your rig, and
yeah,
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Right.
Thanks for building
Thanks,
awesome pedals. It's good hanging out.